Hello there and welcome to The Big Story, where we'll discuss the hottest topics of the day right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Dylan, coming to you live from the Straits Times. Now, we are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, so be sure to like, share and comment on our video. And while you're at it, if you haven't already done so, do subscribe to our channel and click the bell button so as to be notified whenever we go live. In a few moments, I'll be joined by my newsroom colleagues where we'll discuss the hottest stories that got you talking today. Today, we'll be talking about the dark web, Singapore's first zero-waste master plan, and why are Singapore's PSI readings so different from those used elsewhere, and which are correct. In fact, we will be having an expert from the NEA, or National Environment Agency, to explain how the PSI really works. Now, for our first story, a Singaporean man was jailed on Wednesday for 5 years for trying to hire a hitman on the dark web to kill his ex-lover's new boyfriend. Alan Vincent Hui Kim Seng may not be the only one who has turned to hitman-for-hire sites. Mr. Christopher Montero, a security analyst based in London, alerted a US-based journalist who then tipped off the Singapore authorities. Now, with us to tell us more is the newspaper journalist David Sun, who broke the story. Hi, David.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Hi, David. So welcome to the show. Now, David, I understand that Mr. Montero revealed that there were 3 others in Singapore who were targeted on these hitman sites. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
So the news of Alan Vincent broke in May last year, and it was fascinating because I've heard rumors about people hiring hitmen on dark web, but you don't really expect anyone to be targeted in Singapore.
Yep.
And after that, CBS ran a whole piece on hitman-for-hire on the dark web, featuring Chris Montero in September last year. So I reached out to Chris, and it was very interesting because the first reply that I got from him was him sharing that at that time there was already one other target in Singapore. That was in October or so. Then in November and December last year, he informed me of 2 other hits ordered in Singapore. The targets did not appear to have anything else in common, except that they were in Singapore. And based on the details provided from Chris, the first target we found seemed to be a student at a school in Punggol.
Oh, wow.
The second was a woman working in the West, and her photo was also uploaded to the site, making it really easy for anybody to identify her. And the third was a man with an Ang Mo Kio address.
Now, David, in your news report, you mentioned that these individuals were allegedly targeted through websites such as Kimura Hitman, which actually offers assassin for hire on the dark web. But how do these hitman sites actually work? And are they actually difficult to access?
Well, the dark web is relatively easy to access because it's used to provide services. So it's pretty simple. You download something called a Tor browser, and almost anyone can do it in a couple of clicks if you know what you're doing. You just have to know the address of the site and you're in. As for sites for like Kimura Hitman, it's a service, so naturally it's quite easy to find the links because they kind of advertise it in certain places. It's quite accessible. How it works is just go to the site, you create an account, you give details, you discuss, you indicate a target, you provide as much detail as you can, a name, address, a photo, whatever, and what you want done to them. So it's not just assassinations whereby you kill somebody.
Yeah.
In some cases, they ordered hits for like hurting somebody. So when you key in all these details, you get an automatic reply, and a short while later, then you get a follow-up reply with a price in Bitcoin. They provide instructions then on how you are supposed to pay in Bitcoin, and you're supposed to get the Bitcoin, put it into a wallet, and show proof that you have the money ready.
So Bitcoin is the only way that you can pay? I mean,
yes, for most of these sites, the main way they transact is through Bitcoin,
okay.
Like as with most things on the dark web, or some form of digital currency. So then you kind of discuss how you want the hits to be carried out, and just before the hit is carried out, you are expected to transfer the Bitcoin over.
Now, you also mentioned that a lot of these hitman sites are believed to be scams. I mean, why is this so?
Yeah, well, it's believed and has been reported quite extensively that such sites are scams. It's been found that such sites actually have very poor security protocols, which is why people like Chris were able to retrieve the site's information and all these names and share it with the media and the authorities. From what they've retrieved, it appears that the reviews on these sites are all fake, and no hits seem to have actually been carried out. Other experts also note that half of the supposed assassins for hire on such sites are actually police officers, undercover police officers, and they're there to detect murder plots. So really, while getting to such sites is relatively easy, getting an actual hitman will actually be quite difficult.
And I mean, moving forward, how does the future actually look like for all these kind of sites and stuff?
Well, hitman-for-hire sites result in a rather unique situation. The sole purpose of such sites really is, from the user's point of view, is clearly to kill, to harm somebody.
Yep.
A criminal conviction usually entails mens rea and actus reus. So while the hits might not actually be carried out, it is still an offense to place an order on such sites.
Yeah, so I think it's about intention, right? I think I read that it's more about, I mean, the police takes into consideration the intention much more than the actual act of actually ordering, not ordering, but going to these sites.
Yeah, so going to the site, if you go to the site and you don't actually do anything, you don't discuss a name, you don't give a target, that itself is not an offense, or rather it's quite hard to prove that it's not an offense. But because these sites are like I said, it provides a unique situation because it's purely to kill, to harm. So if you go there and you give a name or you discuss a target, that is not just intention, that is the act.
Okay.
So when you have intention whereby you want to hurt somebody, not acting on it, that is not crime. But the moment you act on it in some form, that is a crime. So I think in the case of Alan Vincent, the court sent a really, really strong message that such offences will not be tolerated. And we shared the details of the 3 alleged targets with the police, so perhaps we'll see prosecution in the future.
Thanks so much for sharing about this topic, David. I think, honestly, I must admit that the first time I heard about this story, I didn't even think it could be real, because, it sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. And actually, it's quite scary that it's happening, quite so close to home.
Yes.
So anyway, of course, to see David's full story, you can always head down to the newspaper website. It's www.tnp.sg.